How's it going today, everybody? Happy early Thanksgiving if you celebrate that holiday. Welcome back to my channel. This is Nerd Level Rising. My name is Jake. And because Thanksgiving is, tomorrow, I've been thinking about some stories that I'm really thankful for. And that's what I wanted to do for this video today. These are, I think 10 stories, 10 books that I'm very thankful for various reasons. And I just want to jump in and talk about those. So let's jump in. Let's do it. Right, so number one, Malice is book one of The Faithful and the Fallen. So this is series number one that I'm thankful for is The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. This one was, to me, this was kind of the series that blew open the doors of modern fantasy that just puts it on my radar, if that makes sense, right? Like a lot of the stuff that I was interested in reading before I got to this were things that were a little, not super old, but kind of older, and this was like the modern series that was on my radar, very modern style, modern whatever. And I was like, what the heck? I'll try it. Everyone says John Gwynne's awesome. And, he's awesome, So this really kind of blew that open for me with really modern stuff. But I think the other layer that makes me very thankful for this series is seeing what he did with tropes in this series, particularly the Chosen One trope. It just was so astounding to me. I don't know. I can't even think of the right word. That it just made me feel. It was such a profound feeling of seeing what he did with this and just like, wow, like there is still stuff that can be done that I haven't seen, and it's not like I've read every book out there, but any medium, I've never seen anything do this before. And that was just so cool and so interesting and so refreshing. And it was really inspiring to me as somebody who does want to write, at some point. I'm trying to find time for it. It's hard, but it was really inspiring for me on that level as well. So very thankful for this series. It's just an awesome series also, by the way, right? The ending's great, 4 books long. They look kind of big, but man, you can fly through these, and just phenomenal. So Faithful and the Fallen. Number 2, these next couple are very obvious, so I'm just going to hit these pretty quick. The Sun Eater series by Christopher Ruocchio. This one is purely I'm thankful for because of just my sheer enjoyment of the series and how much it has made me think about time and life in general. Right. This has been my obsession this entire year. That's no secret to anybody. So there's that simple layer of it. But I think the themes that Christopher Ruocchio explores throughout this series, there's a lot about coming to know yourself, coming to be honest with yourself and acknowledge your shortcomings, work on those things a little bit, see if you can get better. There's a lot about just the passage of time in and of itself, which is something that I'm very constantly aware of, and it can be very stressful. It can be distressing a lot of times, and seeing what Hadrian goes through, how he deals with those sorts of things, and there's other layers of how the passage of time and time itself is explored through the series, which is just so interesting, and there's so much to say about that, but all of that, right? And also, let's just be honest, I'm a huge Berserk fan. I loved seeing, and just anime fan in general, right? So I love seeing a lot of the references that he has snuck into this series, particularly from Berserk and Cowboy Bebop and Dregs of Empire and things like that. And then, all the Dune references and some Star Wars stuff. Like there's just some really, really cool stuff in here that I've just connected to. And this has become one of my absolute favorite stories, period. One of my favorite ongoing series. One of my favorite writers, like just everything. So very, very thankful for the Sun Eater series. I just mentioned this, so I might as well go ahead and hit this one, right? Berserk. I'm so thankful for Berserk because this is one of the stories that really has made me reflect on my life and myself the strongest. Guts' journey of everything that he goes through, but he just keeps showing up. He keeps trying his best. He keeps trying to move forward. He keeps trying to grow. He challenges himself and tries to grow in those ways. He begrudgingly at times, but nonetheless is willing to face his demons and is willing to try to work on things and progress as, within himself, not just, physically and with his career, so to speak, but with, emotionally, psychologically within himself. So you have all that stuff, and that's the thing that a lot of people connect with, right? Is the struggle and the perseverance. But to me, I also very much identify with Griffith early in the story, at least. I relate to him a lot, and being a very ambitious person, and that he is willing, like he will not let anything stop him from getting what he wants. And that's something that I think is very good and very relatable, and to a certain extent. Of course, there's a point where it can be taken too far, and that's something that this has really made me think about. I have a Beylit tattooed on my arm for this very reason. Is that to me it represents the cost of ambition and how far is too far. Like you want this thing, okay? What are you willing and what are you not willing to do, right? Acknowledge that there is a point that is too far and then it's not worth it, and we got to be careful of that. It's a constant reminder to me of that because I'm somebody who it's very easy for me to get lost in just working and let some things that are more important fall by the wayside, and I don't want to do that. So having that reminder is important to me, and that all came from this story. It also is just a story that I've bonded with a lot of friends with over, right? I have a lot of friends who have read this story, and I've made friends with people purely because of this, and that's been really cool too, and I love that. So Berserk always will have a very soft spot in my heart, and hopefully we get a proper ending at some point, but even where it's at now, if we never get a full ending, I think it's still a very satisfying journey. And I gotta get those deluxe editions, by the way. I really gotta get. It's just the money's tough, man. I spent so much money on these individual volumes, and then to think about the hundreds of dollars that need to go into those deluxe editions, but they're so beautiful, and I gotta get them. I think for a reread of this, I definitely need to do it from the deluxe editions, I think. But anyway, Berserk. Similar vein, and again an obvious one. The Stormlight Archive is there for many obvious reasons, right? Everyone will talk about the characters in the story and how much they relate to them, and I see so much of myself, different aspects of myself in Kaladin, in Shallan, in Dalinar, some in Szeth, right? Like there's so many of these characters, Navani even, Adolin, Renarin, like I identify so much with these characters in the story, and seeing their journey, see what they go through, see how they persevere, see what they overcome. It is just endlessly relatable and inspirational and cathartic and all those things for me. And I love the series dearly for that. And I think the other aspect of this that makes me connect with it so much is similar to Berserk. I've really deepened some friendships because of the Stormlight Archive. There's been friends who are not huge readers, but they were, certainly interested and saw how much I loved the series, and they gave it a shot, and they fell in love with it, and we talk about it all the time, and I love that so much. It's awesome. So this, if I have to pick a favorite series of all time, it's probably this. As cliche as that may be, I don't care. It's true. It's awesome. So I love everything about this series, and man, when we get Wind and Truth next month, that's just going to be an unbelievable experience. I don't know. I'm not ready. I'm ready, but I'm not ready. You know what I mean? But yeah, Stormlight Archive. Oh man, I could talk about that forever, but we'll leave it at that for right now. Next one, I'm going to go with Harry Potter, because this is I've had such an interesting relationship with Harry Potter. Growing up, I just watched the movies. I didn't read any of the books until after the fourth movie had come out. And I was terrified of these movies. I loved them. I couldn't stop watching them, but I was terrified. Voldemort scared the hell out of me. The Dementors did too. It was bad, man. Like I couldn't go into a dark room. I had to have somebody with me. I couldn't be by myself. I absolutely refused to go outside by myself at nighttime. No way, right? Like there was just, I was terrified. And so when I read the books and then I kept watching the movies and I conquered that fear eventually, like that has been so meaningful to me. And so this will never go away. This will always be a massive part of who I am. And, I've read these books so many times. I mean, these are pretty beat up. There was a time where I would read the 7 books and then I just start back over and just go back through and start over. I probably did that 3 or 4 times in a row. And so I've read these a bunch, and it's just amazing every time. I'm about due for another reread, to be honest. It's been a few years now, but this story it's just magic in every sense of the word, right? I don't think that there's a single better word that could describe Harry Potter more than that. It is the most magical experience of my life, probably. And now that I live in Florida, I gotta get up there to the Harry Potter thing, man. I still haven't been there. It's so hard to find the time, and obviously the money is tricky. But I gotta get up there. Like, I will cry. I guarantee it. I will cry, and that will be a life-changing moment for sure. But Harry Potter will always be one of the most special experiences, period, to me in my life. So that's got to be on the list. Next is sort of another kind of YA thing that I read as a kid that I never hear anybody talk about ever. And so maybe I should do a full video on this at some point. I'd like to reread these. But that's Pendragon by DJ McHale. And this, wow, man. I mean, this was like, I guess you would consider this sci-fi or science fantasy, whatever, right? Whatever kind of combo that would be. It's like Portal fantasy kind of, but then there's like sci-fi stuff going on, and then like I don't know. It's interesting to describe, but we basically follow Bobby Pendragon, which, what more of a YA name can you get? But he's like hopping to these different worlds and helping them navigate what crisis they're in, and there's the big bad Saint Dane who's there, and just causing chaos everywhere. And we're following. I mean, it's like a 10-book series. And it was so much fun. And this was one of the things that growing up as a kid, this got me so excited about reading. I just devoured these. And I have so many good memories of just sitting in my room, all snuggled up in a blanket, and just sitting there and losing myself in one of these Pendragon books for like 6 or 7 hours straight. I'm not even, I'm not thinking about eating. I'm not thinking about anything. I didn't even get up and pee. I was just so lost in this world, and it's one of the things that really cemented being a reader for me. It's just incredible, just incredible. So Pendragon, underappreciated. I should talk about this more. I think that'd be fun. Actually, you know what? We're gonna get here because I forgot about this one. We're gonna pull it off the shelf and add it to the list right now, and that's Eragon. This one, I can't believe I almost missed this, man. Eragon is this is the first book that I picked out by myself from the library, and because I the cover in the back of the book, and I was like, I think I would like this. And I think I was in 5th grade, or 4th or 5th grade, and I picked this up and I fell in love. And I understood what was happening. That's the key point too, because I had picked some other stuff up for myself and read it, some of the Drizzt books beforehand, but I didn't understand what was happening. Right? I didn't have the skill, to really get it. But this was perfect for me. Right? It was right, the correct age range that I was for what this is targeting. And like this is what really started it, it really started me as a reader, and I will always appreciate this series for that. Is it perfect? No, right? But I don't care at all. None of these are perfect. This is just one of those things. I think people complain about it a little bit too much, and if I'm being honest, but this means so much to me, man. And just for that simple fact that like this was the spark that lit the flame that took off and turned me into this, whatever I am now. And I love this series. I've read, obviously read I haven't read Murtagh yet, but I really would like to. And I know the Broken Binding has announced they're going to do special editions of these next year, so I'll probably get those. And maybe we'll do a reread from the special editions. That would be really fun. So Eragon, last second addition to the list, but deserves to be on here for sure. Speaking of my reading journey, I gotta have this on here. I gotta have A Song of Ice and Fire, because this is what turned me into a big reader as an adult. I read a lot as a kid. It was a lot of, Eragon and Pendragon and Harry Potter and, various other things. But I had a period of time in high school where I didn't read very much. It was very, very little. It basically was just that was when I was in my cycle of Harry Potter over and over. And it was slow, whatever. And then the Game of Thrones TV show was on, and I got obsessed with that. And I was like, okay, well, I want to go read the books now. So I grabbed these, and game over, man. This opened everything for me. I was like, I didn't know books were like this, and it just took over my life. I was so obsessed with these, And like I'm one of those guys that, do I think Winds of Winter is coming out at some point? Maybe, maybe. I'm not going to hold my breath, but like I wouldn't be surprised if we at least get that one eventually. But even if we don't, I kind of don't care. I mean, these are phenomenal enough that like I'm still satisfied even with it being unfinished. And like they're just that good, man. I can't, I don't know. But I'm so thankful for these because this really launched me into being a big reader as an adult. And it changed the game. It really did. So just like with a lot of people, Game of Thrones changed the game for them as a reader. What came on the heels of that, though, I finished Game of Thrones and I was just like, wow, what I got on Google, like similar series to Game of Thrones, and what always popped up number one was The Wheel of Time. And so I tried that and I read all 14 all the way straight through. Then I read the prequel, and this, I couldn't get enough. Wheel of Time is to this day still one of my very favorite things. I will go to my grave saying that the slog is fake. The books that people say are the slog, I still really, really enjoyed it. And I think people oversell how rough it can be to get through those books. They're still great books, man. Are they as good as some of these other ones in the series? Maybe not, but they're still great, I thought. But anyway, maybe on a reread I'll feel differently. I don't know. But this was, if the Song of Ice and Fire is what opened the door for me as an adult reader, this is what made me just sprint all the way through and never look back. This took over my life again in the same way that Song of Ice and Fire did. This then led me to Sanderson when he finished the series, picked up Mistborn after that, and then Stormlight, and and just I don't know, man. I don't know. This is just such a special series to me too. I've made friends through this series as well. That gives that extra layer of specialness, And that's kind of a common through line, right, with some of these is, helps you make friendships. That's always really cool. But yeah, Wheel of Time is always going to be there for me. I really am excited to reread this someday. I'm not sure when. It's so long, but I'm excited to reread this someday. I would love to get a hardcover set. I do actually really like the mass market paperbacks, but a hardcover set would be very cool. Okay, next, the Malazan Book of the Fallen. That's another one that just took over my life, and it was very challenging at times to get through, and it was so worth every step of the journey. And this was a series that really taught me that sometimes you got to really slow down and chew your food and really think. And sometimes the author is not going to give you the answers for a very long time. A lot of these other series, you have that. You don't get the answers right away, but you'll get them before too long. Whereas with this, it's like you're going to go a really long time before you get some of these answers, and some answers you're never going to get. And you got to just be okay with that. And this taught me so much about what books can do, about what storytelling can do. And there's endless, I need to make more Malazan videos because there's just endless depth to explore in this series. And for the simple fact that this has stuck in my head like almost nothing else has. I don't know. I'm so thankful for this journey. It's been so amazing. I cannot wait to get the Broken Binding editions. I think my plan is once we get the full set of 10 from the Broken Binding, I think that's when I will start my reread of Malazan, because I truly believe that I will get even more out of it on a reread, and it'll be even more amazing at that point. Just extraordinary series, right? I don't even know how else to describe it. I mean, if magic describes Harry Potter, I think epic is what describes this. I don't know. And then the last one, no list can be complete without The Lord of the Rings. This, I'm going to be honest, this is, this might get some people mad at me. I've only read these books once, but I've seen the movies a bunch of times. I preferred the movies. Sorry. I do want to reread this, though, because I read them early on, and I probably read them, I don't know, it's probably been 10 or 15 years ago now, and I think I would appreciate them a lot more at this point where I am as a reader. So I do want to reread them. I want to reread it from this nice special edition. This is really cool. But this, to me, I'm so thankful for because, number one, none of this stuff would be here without it, right? We have to acknowledge that. But also just the movies that were based on these books, that really opened me up to fantasy as a genre as a kid. Growing, it was Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings were instrumental in me, at least live action, cartoons and anime and stuff. That felt separate, but at least with live action, with actors and a director and seeing people who looked like normal humans. They're not animated. Seeing Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings were so instrumental for me in just seeing, fantasy, but this especially being that high epic fantasy was just, man, it was so different. It was so formative. It was so just everything. I've made friends through that series as well. And one of my best friends ever since like 5th grade. We still, when we text, we'll still talk as if we were Lord of the Rings characters, just using that language and, that sort of thing. It's just fun and funny. But yeah, man, Lord of the Rings, that can't not be on this list, Okay, well, that's my list, right? These are stories that I'm very, very thankful for in the spirit of Thanksgiving. So thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. Talk to me in the comments. What are you thankful for? What stories are you the most thankful for? I would love to hear that. Do we have some crossover? Do you have some other stuff? I imagine there's some different things for you guys. Otherwise, I hope, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope it's awesome. I hope that you enjoy it. You get some great food, but even more importantly, some great time with loved ones, whether that's family, found family, friends, whatever it is. I hope you get to enjoy it, spend it with people that you really care about, or if you just want to spend it alone, that's awesome, right? If that's what you prefer, then have fun, do that. I think that's great. So talk to me in the comments, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, you like what I'm doing, hit that subscription button. I appreciate it. We get to grow and reach new people, talk to new people, build more relationships, have more fun conversations. That's what it's all about, man. So, okay, that's it for me for now. I will see you next time.